Hello, I'm Sharon Scott Wilson. I'm a publisher and co-owner of Resort Trades Media Group, and we print and distribute a magazine, Resort Trades, 12 months out of the year, and send them to vacation ownership and timeshare resort executives, as well as suppliers and a number of other interested parties. So welcome. And by the way, it's all free media. So sign up at resorttrades.com. So we are very pleased and privileged and honored to have with us today David Axel, who is the new Senior Vice President of PR, Marketing, and Communications for the American Resort Development Association, ARDA. So I know we're going to find a lot of interesting information about David's plans for communication, because as you can see in this slide, David has a rich background. He was owner of his own marketing agency for 15 years, and they handled big accounts like NASA and MTV. And he has such a rich, broad educational background, too. Your scholastics scare me to death, David.
Don't worry. They just kept sending me back to school, so I kept going.
Well, that's good. Well, you are blessed then to have had such a rich and broad exposure to scholastics. Of course, we're going through the course of our discussion, we're going to ask questions about what your objectives are for ARDA Communications, what strategy you plan to develop and to follow, and how those things will be tracked, which as a PR guy, you know, is important to show what's working and what's not working.
Of course.
So another other topics that may come up on this slide, but we'll wait and see what those happen to be like.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I've only been with ARDA just a hair over 90 days, so you're my first interview. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on the program. I, of course, did check out your publication. I did check out your LinkedIn page. I checked everything out. It's great. I didn't know there was such a detailed coverage of the industry. So I was thrilled to find out that there was, and I'm glad you had a minute to put me on your program.
Well, thank you. We're very privileged to have you. We've been associated with ARDA as an organization for over 30 years, and always been, even before it was called ARDA. We definitely want to support the efforts, because the stronger ARDA is, the better represented the industry is, and it works for everybody. So I wanted to offer you full access to our editorial, YouTube videos, channel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'll jump into this. So what you're looking at here is a presentation that I actually gave, a shortened version that I gave at our executive ARDA Venture retreat a few weeks ago, right? And so I try not to take myself too seriously. Thus the fun Batman slide, right? So as I mentioned, I've only been here 90 days. There's a ton to learn about timeshare. Every time I turn around, there's a new piece of information, something historical I didn't know. I've had the time to go out and meet with a lot of our different members and go over this marketing plan with them. It's shifted and adjusted kind of based on the feedback I got and new information I received. And at this point, it's pretty much dialed in. We're launching this right around August 18th. So I'll kind of walk you through the high level, and then you can ask me whatever it is that you want to ask. So
that sounds great.
Our marketing plan really has two tiers to it, right? You can't forget that 90% or so of the people who own a timeshare like their timeshare, right? All we hear online is exit, 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 because these companies have popped up everywhere. But the reality is there's plenty of people who love their timeshare. They love the experiential travel. They love the guaranteed service they're going to get. They love the safety. They love everything about having a timeshare. And so at least half of our campaign is designed to promote the positive of timeshare. And my theory here is there's a lot of people who just don't know, right? I've never, my father-in-law had a timeshare, and we had it for a number of years. And then when my kids were older, we didn't keep it because we couldn't travel as much, et cetera, et cetera. But I had never seen anything come up in my news feed, on social, on the web about timeshare at all until I started researching my job, right? And how are we going to promote this? And so I really do think there's this wide berth of people who do not understand just how beneficial and incredible and what a good value timeshare actually is for them, right? And it's different. There's people it's not a fit for, but there's plenty that it is, excuse me. And so Go Timesharing is kind of our flagship site promoting the positive aspects of timeshare. We did a campaign prior to my arrival called Sharing Time Off with a soccer star, where we showed just how relaxing and enjoyable timeshare can be if you've got a busy schedule, if you're stressed from work, if you just need to unwind. We just did our road tripping campaign where we partnered up with a bunch of different influencers. We did a satellite media tour with Rich and Regular, and we basically sent them on road trips that we curated on our own of, hey, if you want to do this kind of trip, go here. If you want to do this kind of trip, go there. Over 40 million views online, wildly successful. But again, the comments that I found interesting were things where a media outlet would cover it, right? And say the new vacation hack. Like this is some new thing that nobody had heard about. This is a very old and established industry, which goes back to we need to start telling people how great this is and everything they don't know and understand so that they're interested in getting involved in owning a timeshare. And so Go Timesharing is going to be our primary vehicle for doing that. We're also planning on launching a significant number of targeted microsites across the internet, right? We're going to want to talk about why a timeshare, not an Airbnb, why a timeshare and not a hotel room. You know, why is this the way you should be traveling? And it's nice to be in a position where I really feel like we've got the best answer, right? So all I have to do is really get you to see it, and it makes sense on its own, right? And so we'll have this consumer aspect going. And of course, most of this, in my opinion, happens on social media, right? Somebody decides they may want to rent a timeshare, buy a timeshare, they want to know about timeshare. They may start with a Google search or on one of the search engines or whatever, but realistically, they're probably going to get on social media and say, hey, any of my friends ever use a timeshare? Hey, any of you guys own a timeshare? Hey, any of you guys know anything about timeshare? There's a full organic and paid social media presence that goes with this positive campaign. And it's aggressive. And there's also a full ad campaign using AdWords on Google and doing ads on Bing on the search engines directly to try and attract people when they're doing a search online.
Great.
And so I expect all that to go very, very well. I expect our reach to be solid. Can't really discuss this yet because we haven't nailed it down, but we're even working with an influential partner to get on TV and get some national reach across the country about the positivity of timeshare. Haven't locked that down yet. I'm almost there. So I can't really get into it, but at a high level, that's our positive campaign, right? And then as you know, I'm sure, especially being the head of this publication, the exit companies have become, in my opinion, just out of control. The fraud is rampant. They spend a lot of money. They're on the radio, they're on social, they're on the web. As soon as I started researching timeshare myself, that was like the first thing you get hit with is exit, 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 exit. So I'm sure you're aware of the Responsible Exit website. Have you been there before?
Yes.
So we gave this a revamp just a few weeks ago. So Responsible Exit started as a great place to get the information you needed to figure out your exit process, right? Is that rental? Is it resale? Is it an exit company? Are you contacting your developer? It gave you everything you needed to know, the best way to do this to prevent yourself from being scammed. Start at the top with your resort developer or HOA and work your way down your options depending on what happens. It wasn't designed at the time to work like a exit company site. What I mean by that is when you go, if you're online and you're searching for, how do I exit my timeshare? I'm ready to sell my timeshare. You've aged out, whatever the case may be. you need to land on a website that's going to give you an answer, right? If you don't get to a solution, you're going to leave and probably go to an exit company. And so responsible exit has been overhauled so that you get that answer, right? It's no longer just here's the information, figure it out, go forth and conquer. It's now, okay, tell me your situation. Do you own? Do you have a mortgage? Are you looking to permanently exit? Are you looking to maybe keep it, but you don't want to have these maintenance fees every year? Like, what is your situation? And then we walk you down the process of everything you need to know. And then we connect you with anyone in the ARDA space that makes sense for you to see, right? If you should be contacting your developer, we have a list of all the developers. If you should be contacting a resale company or a rental company, we have a list of all of those companies. We're giving them the ability to conclude their journey on our website with an actionable step to resolve the situation, right? And not just saying, well, now you know everything you need to know, go do whatever you think is best, right? We're trying to bring them to a conclusion so that this becomes the site they actually get their solution on, and they don't have to leave here and say, well, now I got to figure this out. I'm just going to go to an exit company website. And so I'm excited about the design. I'm excited about the look and feel. We've had some great traction from it already. We're getting email requests in that are targeted, that are detailed. Like, we're obviously reaching the right audience. It's only been a couple of weeks. So we're going to have to give it a while to see just how perfected it is. And we'll probably go through and make changes as we go. But I'm excited about where we are with it.
We get calls all the time from angry homeowners or members who say, are you XYZ Resorts? We're mad at you. And we're like, no, we don't have anything to do with any resort company per se. So if you were to send me logos to put on our website, maybe
the links to the different developers and absolutely. Yeah, and you should feel free on your website to just link them right to the appropriate pages on responsible exit and save yourself the trouble of having to code all that out. After this, I'll send you the links to each thing, and then it would be great we'd love it if you do that. And I can save you the trouble of trying to code it all together. You can just link to the appropriate resource or page on responsible exit. So the big thing on the exit side, and I want to go back to emphasizing, you hear exit all day long, right? Like, if you're on social, these companies are everywhere. They take ads on SiriusXM, like, they kind of inundate you. But it's really important to remember that 90% of the people who have a timeshare love it. We're talking the 10% of the audience that's making a lot of noise. And really, it's not even the owners. It's the exit companies just trying to figure out how do they get this business. It's not like we have this crisis where 50% of our ownership wants to exit. It's not the case at all, right? As a matter of fact, it seems like most times someone's getting ready to exit, they've just had a life change, right? They're older and maybe they're not in the best of health and they can't travel. They're in a job that doesn't allow them the time to enjoy their timeshare anymore. The kids are gone. They have a 3-bedroom property. They don't it's not normally I'm furious at my resort, I'm mad at my timeshare. They've enjoyed it for years or decades, and now it's just time. That life cycle has ended, and they need a way to get out. Mm-hmm. That's why we came up with this Timeshare Consumer Protection Center. So the idea is all the information you see on the web on exits is not all of it is correct. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, most of it is incorrect, right? There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of scams. This is a very profitable thing for an exit company to do, right? It's a very high ROI for them. And so they're running around trying to get as many clients as they can. Are there legitimate exit companies? I'm sure there are. I'm not saying every single one of these companies is doing that, but there's a lot of it going on to the point where the FTC has a section about fraud. The FBI has a national information center on these frauds. Like, there's a lot of it. What isn't out there is an unbiased source of information. I've been analogizing it to the Consumer Reports, right? You would buy your Consumer Reports magazine. You were looking to buy a car. You'd go to that section, right? It was a printed book for all of you who are like, why is he doing that? It was a printed book. All right, 100% a printed book. And so you would go into the book, you would look up the car you wanted, and it would say, hey, here's everything you need to know about this car. This is awesome. This is great. You should love it. Here's the 2 or 3 things you may not like. It gave you both sides, unbiased, unfiltered, and then let you do whatever you were going to do. Make whatever decision you were going to make. That is the purpose of the TCPC, right? We're giving you, okay, you think you want to exit your timeshare. First of all, did you know you don't just have exit as an option? Did you know you can resell it? Did you know you can rent it? Did you know you can donate it to charity? Did you know you can give it to a loved one or a family member? You don't hear those pieces of information online. You hear exit. So there's a lot of people who may not even know what these other options are. And then once they choose an option, finding the right information is incredibly hard to do, right? The people who have the money to spend millions of dollars a week, a day, a month on these ads, a lot of them are not legitimate, right? They're using fraudulent practices to get people in the door. They're telling them to cancel or stop making their payments and default on their loans. There's a lot of information out there that is truly detrimental to the timeshare owner. And so the idea here is to give them a centralized source. We'll cover it all. Yes, we're going to tell you this is the good about X, Y, and Z. And this is the bad about X, Y, and Z. So you can make an informed decision, right? And luckily, and I'm very happy to be in this situation because I've been as a marketer on both sides of it. ARDA and the TCPC and ARDA Rock, we're on the right side of this. We are giving people the information we need. We are guiding them to the best way to exit their timeshare. Our resort owners, our HOAs, our timeshare developers, they have no ill will towards any of this. They're trying to give you the best solution possible to deal with your situation. And so putting this out there is easy, right? It's the same information we would have told you all along. We're centralizing it. So hopefully, the bulk of timeshare owners who are looking to exit their timeshare are now going to realize, hey, there's some facts here I need to be aware of. There may be some options I didn't know about. We've got tons of content being published. This is how we get in front of the exit companies that are scamming our timeshare owners and giving us a bad name as an industry. And it's a massive undertaking. You're talking about a ton of content. There's a lot to do there, but we're launching this on August 18th. And then from a marketing perspective, and again, 90 days in, I may be misspeaking. I don't think I am, but at least in recent history, we haven't done some of the advertising we're getting ready to do with the TCPC. For example, the nationwide campaigns, right? We're trying to get ourselves in front of everybody all the time, even if it's just a subliminal messaging of the logo and a slogan, right? Just start seeing it, start hearing it, that's half the battle, is getting it to be something that you may not realize it's in the back of your mind. But when you go to think about exiting your timeshare, it's going to jump to the front of your mind because you've seen it and heard it so much. And so we are kind of going left to right here. We are going to run Google AdWords and Bing ads on the search engines directly, so that if you do a search for exiting your timeshare, they'll type getting rid of my timeshare. We're going to come up. Right now, that is dominated by exit companies that are buying the space, right? Lucky for us, Responsible Exit is a number 1 ranked property. We get a ton of traffic. We're in the fight. That's one website, right? Even if we have ARDA Rock, Responsible Exit, there's hundreds of these exit companies out there. We need a more aggressive way to take some top positioning and intercept that timeshare owner before they get the bad information, right? Before they land on an exit company. We're also going on SiriusXM, right? To be honest with you, when I joined, a lot of the members I spoke to would say to me, I hear XYZ company on SiriusXM all the time, right? And I heard that a lot. I didn't hear that like once or twice. I heard that a lot. Right. And so, listen, if they're hearing it, then it's obviously a popular enough channel that everybody's hearing it. We need to be in that channel. We need to be on SiriusXM. So we have an ad campaign for the TCPC. That's great. Launches on August 18th. It's super aggressive. It should do a very good job of taking market share away from the companies we don't want having it. So I'm very excited about that. We have a social media presence. We've always had Love My Timeshare. I shouldn't say always. For a long time, we've had Love My Timeshare. It gets a lot of traction. It's got great information. Our social media manager, Amy, knocks it out of the park with that. She knows all the trends. She knows everything you need to know to kind of get that to be the presence we want it to be. Now we're going to beef up the amount of free posting we're doing, called organic posts. And then we're launching an aggressive social media campaign, paid, across multiple social media channels, not just Facebook and Instagram, like multiple channels, to drive traffic into the TCPC by generating awareness that it's there, right? And then, as I mentioned earlier, can't get into it yet, but we are looking at some TV partnerships, a bunch of different things that would get us televised, nationwide coverage of one sort or another. Will we do them all? Not sure yet. Which one are we going to do? Not sure yet, but we're close. We've been in negotiations back and forth. And that's more of this subliminal, right? Like you get, so my wife, who knows nothing of timeshare, other than that now I work here, and so she's learning about timeshare. Immediately when I started, came back and said, I hear this company on my sports radio. I get their ads on my social. I see them everywhere. Even though she doesn't, I don't think, know what a timeshare exit is. Like, she doesn't deal with any of that. She knows who these companies are because subliminally, they're always putting their name in your ear. They're always putting their logo in front of you. And that's what we need to do. We need to blanket the space a bit so that you're seeing our logo, you're hearing our little tagline. You're like, so when you get ready to do something, we're going to be the name and the web address that you know, and that's where you're going to start. And then for people who don't do that, we'll buy our placements on the search engines, on social media, on the radio, so that even if you don't think of us first, hopefully we're the first thing you see or hear, and then you're going to come to us, right? And so at a high level, that's the 90-day, through end of year plan, right? Right now I'm looking at everything through December 31st. I want to see how this works for us, through the end of the year. And then I'm sure we're going to make changes and decisions and adjust based on the data we gather, the feedback from our members, all of the above. I don't expect this to be a set it and forget it and this is what we're doing. I think on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, we're going to have to look at what's being effective and what's not, and then adjust our plan to match it, right? The thing about marketing is you can't, especially in the technology side, as soon as you get something ready and out and going, there's something else, right? And so you have to be on top of that and ready to analyze your analytics, track the data and make changes as you move. And we're ready to do that. And I should say, by the way, I mentioned Amy. I don't know if you've met Lauren. You actually interviewed our director of public relations and communications. Yeah. She's fantastic and is making sure that, first of all, she's writing some of this content, and then she's making sure that everything we're receiving and putting in is correct and accurate and proper and grammatically right. She also does a fantastic job. And I forgot you had interviewed her before, or I would have recommended you should talk to her. She's absolutely amazing at what she does. So do you have questions for me?
We get so much viewership from timeshare owners, our members. Would it be helpful to perhaps put in an interstitial ad into one of our videos and test it, see if we get any, clicks or interest?
You bring up a great point. So one of the things I mentioned when I presented this plan is we can't outspend these exit companies. Like, just forget it, right? Like when I talked to SiriusXM about one of the big ones that I said, hey, I really want to be similar to this. They said, okay, well, they spend $500,000.
Multi-million dollars.
They spend $500,000 a month. $500,000. And that's one company you're trying to combat. Not forget about the others, right? So, but here's something that is good for us. Between our members, right? The timeshare developers, the resorts, the HOAs, publications like Resort Trades, we take way more traffic per month than they're going to be able to buy, right? Sure. And an interesting stat for you is Google, last time I looked, says 6% of their people click on an ad. The other 94% click on something organic or free, right? So the ads aren't even necessarily where the win is. You're more interested in the 96% than the 4%. That said, yes, if you could share an ad, if our members, right, where it's brand appropriate, where it doesn't interfere with their own messaging and what they're trying to do, if they're sharing the TCPC, they're sharing videos, they're sharing content, we will have more traffic being generated than the exit companies are going to buy. And so that will actually give us a dramatic leg up in how much traction we can get. On top of that, a publication like Resort Trades or a massive brand chain has a domain reputation. And so when you start linking to what we're doing, the search engines and even social media algorithms take notice that, hey, a lot of reputable companies, a lot of big brands are talking about these guys. We should be doing more with these guys. We should show them more. We should pull their rankings up a bit. So I'd love it if you shared an ad, a video, whatever made sense for you to do. And I wanted to put out there too, for the members that watch, like, the more we can work together to have a consolidated message to combat this problem, the easier it's going to be to fix. And you're already kind of seeing this race to the bottom. So, and this is common in a lot of stuff, but when the timeshare exit thing first started, you would see, no pricing, right? They wouldn't even tell you because they didn't want that to deter you from reaching out. Then it became $5,000, $7,500, and they started kind of sprinkling in pricing. Now you're getting ones that post, we'll beat any timeshare exit company by 20%, right? Like we'll if it's $1.99, it's $1.99. Just please give me your business. You're starting to see this be a race to the bottom on price, which is going to wind up taking some of the exit company players, and they're going to leave. They're going to exit the timeshare exit industry because there's not a profit there anymore. So you're starting to see that the list of companies doing it stabilize, which is great because any of those companies that are doing things that aren't legitimate, we now have a set playing field that we're fighting against and not an infinite playing field that changes day to day. And so I really think by end of year, a lot of these smaller companies are going to vanish. You're going to get down to the 20, 30, 50, whatever it is that survive and fight it out permanently. And then we have a set target that we're going after and we know what to do.
Wow. Well, I'm just so thrilled to hear all of your plans. I worked as director of membership at ARDA. It was ARRDA at that time in the early 90s. We had 7 people. Needless to say, ARDA has grown. And with it, by adding you and your great background, I think you're really going to get it done. And I applaud you. Bless you.
So I'm thrilled to be part of the team. And I know you know a lot of them. It's all people who are really smart and really good at what they do. Our legal team is incredible, right? They don't get enough recognition for the battles they're fighting on a daily, weekly basis across the country and the successes that they're getting doing that. Our ARDA Rock team puts on incredibly informative events. All kinds of different activities, online, offline, to really bring the owners together and get everybody kind of talking and deciding, hey, you know what? I'm hearing this, you're hearing that. Here's what we ought to do. Our CEO, who makes my presentation skills look like a joke, Jason, is an unbelievable authority on everything timeshare related, timeshare exit related. He knows he'll forget more than I ever know. He knows that much. It's a really good team there. And really all I'm bringing to the table is how do we get the message from everything we know and everything our members are saying in front of the timeshare owner who doesn't know. And more importantly than any of that, how do I tell the next generation of vacationers that they should be using a timeshare? How do I tell them, you don't want an Airbnb. You don't want a VRBO. Why are you squeezing your family of 4 into a hotel room? That's not a vacation. That's torture. Why would you do that? Why aren't you using timeshare to get out there and travel the way you want, actually have a great time, actually get everyone a vacation? Mom, dad, kids, everyone gets a vacation. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, just to digress for a second, the Airbnb thing, VRBO, even when I know it's not travel related, but even the Uber type of thing. This is all strange to me, right? Like, I know I'm old, I get it. But if I came home, even at 28 years old, I walk into my parents and I say, hey, I'm going to Wyoming this weekend, right? My first question is going to be, that sounds great. What are you doing? How are you going to get there? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to, there's some guy on the internet. He said I could stay at his house for $100 a night. I'm going to crash at his house. And then I'm going to call some other guy who said for $5 he'll bring me home from the airport. My parents would have locked me in my room forever and been like, are you nuts? Right? Everything that we were told from a safety level you should never do is exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Right? We stay in houses of people we don't know, right? And if you look online, there's now apps on your phone because it's so prevalent to have hidden cameras in an Airbnb or VRBO, behind mirrors, in air vents. And sometimes it's legit. They're trying to make sure nobody trashes their property, right? It doesn't matter. There's cameras in there that you don't know about. When you leave some of these places, the instructions are, please wash your sheets, please wash the dishes, please get ready for the next guest to enjoy. You don't know if they did that. You have no idea if they did that. Did they actually wash the plates or just rinse them and leave them in the sink? Did they wash the sheets? Did the people before them wash the sheets? When was the last time the blankets and pillowcases and pillows were changed? Like, there's health issues, there's safety issues, and there's a lot of things that I feel like, and again, it's just me. As you can tell, I have an opinion or two, right? I feel people aren't thinking about this, right? You could stay at a timeshare where you're guaranteed a certain level of experience, right? You're not going to go to a timeshare and get a rundown, beat up place where things don't work. Like, there's a level of accommodation you're guaranteed to get. On a safety level, it is safe. They don't have cameras in the rooms. There's a security team. There's a house cleaning team, right? Housekeeping team. It's going to be fresh sheets. It's going to be blankets and pillows and pillowcases that have been laundered and replaced as necessary. It's going to have been vacuumed, right, by someone who actually cares about cleaning this place up. These are things people aren't thinking about. And they're also not thinking about, when you really do the math, it comes out about the same. Like, if you're going to travel and you get the appropriate timeshare, in many ways, it comes out about the same. And I know people will argue that with me. I'm always happy to have the conversation. I'm always happy to be wrong, right? No problem. I start every presentation with an ARDA member of, look, I don't even know what I don't know. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But, like, these are the things nobody's talking about. Nobody's online saying, don't go to a one-bedroom hotel room, right? Why would you go to bed when your kids go to bed? Why would you not be able to have time away from each other, right? Like, these are the things I feel are even more important than the exit battle, because we want that next wave of traveler who right now seems to value experiential travel, right? What do I get to do while I'm gone? What amenities do you have that are going to be good for me, give me a good time that I can't get anywhere else? We need to tell those people the way to have an amazing vacation in the Grand Canyon is not to go to Tom's house from Airbnb. It's to go to a timeshare resort, get a 2, 3, whatever size property you need. You don't have to think about anything again. It's all handled for you. It's safe. It's clean. There's amenities on site. Something breaks, there's a concierge. That's how you have a great vacation, so that 3 years later, when someone says, remember that trip to the Grand Canyon? You don't go, boy, do I ever. We had no air conditioning for 2 days, right? Or, oh, I couldn't get internet at the place, so I had all these problems. That's not going to happen if you actually go to a timeshare, right? And so I think there's a lot of positive messaging and educational messaging and showing people the amazing options timeshare gives them. To me, that's even more important than the exit side. To our members, the exit side is critical. It's revenue affecting. I'm not blowing that off, but it's very important to remember we're not just trying to combat negative. We're trying to build and reinforce the positive. And so this campaign is really equally divided to do both of those things.
It's going to be great. I'm so glad that you're leading the team or part of the team now. Well, David, thank you so much. We really deeply appreciate your dignifying our channel with your knowledge and
I've seen your other guests. I'm at the bottom.
Oh.
I'm the lower end of the tier. I'm thrilled that you even took the time to interview me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, David,
And if anybody hasn't watched the other interviews, they're incredible. You should definitely watch the other interviews on the channel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, again, to the viewers, thank you for watching. All of our services and information from Resort Trades are free to the readers and the users. So we're advertising supported. So support us and help us to bring this information to our public. And B, go ahead and go online to resorttrades.com/e-magazine. Sign up for our weekly e-newsletter so you don't miss any developments, like, everything from announcements of companies being acquired to in memoriam pieces. Sadly, we've got it for you. So thank you again for watching and for your support.